being a loser nowadays is perfectly fine. And what do I mean by that? I mean, if you're going to lose, just know how to take it in stride. Most most of the times back in the day, most people could get into a fight and just walk away from it for the most part. I'm not going to say no one took it to the extremes back in the day or anything like that, but for the most part, most people just went like, screw it. I lost the fight. Is I might as well just walk away, at least having stood up for myself instead. Whereas nowadays, everyone just tries to go the most extreme route of taking someone's life or doing some of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Now, back back when I was growing up a bit, the you had probably about like three options being you win or lose. You could either walk away with from the fight with gaining mutual respect for whoever you just fought, and you both just go like, I can at least respect it. He at least stood up for himself. Or the second option being, you know, I may not have liked you at first, but after this fight, I think we can be pretty cool, and you become like good friends. Or the third option, this isn't an option of losing. You have to win because whoever wins the fight has the bragging rights of saying, yeah, I beat them. And if multiple people saw it, especially in school, you just had to win that fight. There was no in betweens. This rule could apply to girls occasionally, but from what I've always seen, they usually just hated each other right after. So mm, it's wonky. But also, losing isn't just special to people, it goes for companies as well. And the main company I want to talk about is Xbox and what they're doing after the Xbox One. Now, let me also just say, I'm not going to just be making fun of Xbox. Like, you can find any YouTube video doing that. What I'm more so saying is how what they started doing after the Xbox One and how they kind of, in my opinion, just gave up. But before I can talk about that, I want to talk about PlayStation and the PlayStation 3, where with the PlayStation 3, they weren't doing too well with it at first until near the end of it. And what PlayStation did was they didn't just say, oh, well, we screwed up. There's nothing more we can do. They got back up and then just said, the PlayStation 4 is going to be our time to shine. And they did turn it around with the PlayStation 4 because Xbox had made so many wrong decisions in the lead up to the Xbox One that made the PlayStation just much better overall as a console for most people. Now they kind of also did ruin all that with the PlayStation 5. Like, not saying the PlayStation 5 is a bad console, but more so they somehow pulled a 180 from what they did with the PlayStation 4 and went the Xbox One route where they just have no games this generation. And I've looked it up. They only have about like maybe 10 or 11 games that they've created, while Xbox and Nintendo have about a good, I want to say 19, maybe 15 games that they put out this gen. But also at the same time, I'm going to say every console this generation sucks. The Xbox, the PlayStation, and Nintendo, they all, to me, are just losers this entire generation. Like, each one had the time to shine, and they each messed it up. PlayStation at the start of this generation kind of came out swinging. Xbox in the middle of this generation, they started coming out swing. They came out swinging, and then the end of 2025 and stuff happened. I don't know what. Everything just went wrong after that. But each company kind of just sucks. Nintendo, you barely own the Nintendo Switch too. They can just break the console whenever they feel like it. You you have to pay $80 for games, and then you don't even own the game cartridge that you buy. So it is what it is with Nintendo. I'm not the biggest fan. I don't think they've been good since the Nintendo DSs and stuff like that. But besides that, there's nothing much more to say on the other consoles. But Xbox, however, they just haven't recovered since the Xbox One. And this isn't to say that, oh, everything about the Xbox One is bad. The console sucked. They had no redeeming qualities, which I don't think is true. Like the Xbox One had some pretty good ideas, like the snap feature where you could just have a mini window for like I think the web browser games or ask the Xbox to pull up certain guides and stuff and they would help. I think that was a pretty good feature. Also, the Xbox One was one of the only consoles at the time that I know of that pretty much allowed you to be a content creator from the Xbox because they had the ability to stream on Twitch, also on YouTube. They had their recording software. They also had an editing software. I'm not sure many people knew about it, but I used it. It was pretty good. I made a few videos with it. I don't know why they got rid of it. And they really got rid of all that when they stopped doing Mixer. And I think the middle of 2020 or the end of 2020, which they had some good features. It was more of their implementation that kind of screwed them over there. If they had focused more so on the games first and then they started going like, okay, how about some recording software and other things or entertainment? That wouldn't have been a problem. Like in an all-in-one entertainment console or box isn't bad, but that wasn't what the Xbox was built on. It was built on games, and they just didn't rely on that. So that was their main problem. But also, they did just start taking like the loser mentality approach where by Phil Spencer, he says this, though it's not. I'm not saying that he's given up on the console market, but he's kind of just said, yeah, we kind of lost in the PlayStation 4 era and the Xbox One era because most people built up their libraries then, and that's when it mattered most to really be in the console market. And since we kind of messed up there, we haven't really recovered, which he's not wrong, but it's not impossible to make a comeback. They just need to do things that are better than their competitors. Like I have a few ideas on what they could do, but that's just me throwing out ideas. And honestly, I just wanted this video to be a bit shorter, nothing too crazy. But it's a thing of it's all right to be a loser, but if you're going to be one, you also need to like take it in stride. If it's a fight, just walk away. You lost, and that's fine. If it's like a competition that you're in or something like that, you can lose, but don't just after that loss give up completely and call it quits and say there's nothing I can do. I've already lost. And that seems to be like a few companies problems, like I said, Xbox being the main one where they just really gave up after the Xbox One when they can still make a comeback. They just haven't done anything to make people want to come to the Xbox again, which they can do by just making more games, probably getting rid of the paid for online and stuff like that. But that's on Xbox. But other than that, I'm pretty much done. So yeah, I quit.